So here's how we turn this wall into this wall. This wall. Right, so we ended up getting these strip pieces of wood. We picked them up from Wicks. They are pine strip woods, 6 by 44 by 240. 2400. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut these down. We're going to get them fixed to the wall, tidy them up, and then we're going to get it all painted. So we're going to fasten them with some nails. So we've got some short nails. I'll show you those shortly. And the tools that we're going to use for this aspect will be a square, it's just a small one, tape measure and a pencil, and then we will most likely use a saw. Because it's such a thin piece of wood, it's 6mm. A saw should just do the trick nice and quickly, but the thing is, because we've got this square, this will help us get a nice clean straight line to make sure that we are 100% as square and as clean cut as can be. Because once you start joining the timbers, you're going to have to use either some wood filler or some kind of filler in order to just get it nice and smooth and flush, so when you paint it, it looks as if it's all one frame and not being chopped together. So what we'll do is we'll measure our length. So we're going to build the frame above the skirting board. So I've measured it out already, which is 226 centimeters. So what we'll do is we'll measure our length, mark a line, and then we'll use our square to square it off. Put my mark here, so what I can now do is just get my square, mark my line. As you can see, it's nice and square to the timber. Mark my line, and then I can cut that down. Now we're doing a nice clean square marking. Here comes the baby. Okay, so we've cut down our external framing, the two uprights. Now, unfortunately, as we expected, the wall is out because it's a 1980s property, and it's out from the top to the bottom on this side by about 1.5 centimeters, and on this side by about 1 centimeter. So what we're going to do, we're going to push them flush up to the wall as much as they can. You can't tell by just looking at it straight on. So what we'll do is make sure that the internal uprights are 100% dead straight, and then we'll have to make the side ones at slight degrees in order to fit perfectly in line where possible. It's only the external ones which are going to be out. You won't be able to see it with the naked eye just looking at it. You would have to probably get a tape measure or whatever, and even then it's going to be very difficult to see. So we'll get these done. What we're doing is we're gluing them and nailing them, so we're using no more nails. It's good old stuff here. And then we have these panel pins, self colour. They're a 20mm nail, which is just perfect for this kind of decorative finishing. So I'll put the boards in place just to get an understanding. What we'll do is we'll glue them now, and then we'll nail them, and then we can work on the top cross beams and the bottom cross beams, and then we can do our internal slats as well. So let's keep it moving. So we've done the width boards for the exterior frame. What we've had to do is cut it down because unfortunately the boards come in 240 2,400 mil or 240 centimeters, so it wasn't long enough, so we've had to cut additional panels to go on to the end, which is fine. And not only that, it just makes for less cuts instead of having to do individual cuts at the top as well. So what we're doing is we're doing the middle center uprights now. So I've just cut the two end pieces there, so there we'll put those center uprights in, then we'll do the next two, and then we can start. As you can see, we've now got all the uprights in along with the crossbar. Not put that section in yet because we'll glue those in. They are there on the windowsill. So before we do the crossbars, what we're going to do is glue these in. We're just going to dot and dab as opposed to doing a full line. Reason being is because it's going to be way too much for what we need, especially because it's just an aesthetic pleasing, and when it comes off it's going to end up ripping off all the plaster, so you don't really want to do that. Not that we plan on doing that, so just going to put small dots, dabs. That will more than be enough to hold it in place. With a nail fixing as well, we're good to go. So we've got no more nails, and we'll just crack on and get that. So what we're now doing is fixing in place. So as you know, we drew, well, we pinned one nail which protruded ever so slightly, so we could remove it if needs be. Now what I've done is made sure that this is level with the spirit level, and I'm happy with it. I've drawn a line down the center so I know where it is, and now what I can do is rotate this ever so slightly off, and then I can now put my no nails along this seam down here, continue down, and then put this back in place and nail it at the top and the bottom and the middle to hold it in place, as I've done on these two. And now these are perfectly aligned, along with the top bar and also the end bar right there. So we've got two more to do, and then once these are in place and fixed, which I know these are not going nowhere now, we can then get our center cross beams in place. Right, so just doing the cross members now. They've all been, well, I said they've all been cut to size. We're cutting them to size. Easiest way to install these is work out your spacing that you want, and then cut a section down so every time you get it to match up spot on each corner, on each slot, and you know they're all identical to the T, and that will be spot on. So yeah, just gonna, what I've been doing is putting two nails in each side, gluing it, slotting it in place, and then hammering it in, and then they're holding, so as you can see. Right, okay, so that is the framing completed. So we've done the full lot. Annoyingly, I ran out of panels to have a full length panel to complete this section here. So what I did is I purposely made sure that it was the most hidden part of the whole wall. As you can see, it's slightly short. I'll fill that, but I had to join it. Is what it is. I'm not gonna buy another panel just for the sake of that, especially when I can make it hidden. But all of the other bits are complete. I'm really happy with the final finish of this. So what I'm going to do now is get a sander. I do have an actual sanding machine, but effectively just get all the joints, sand them down so they're nice and smooth, as smooth as can be. And then what we'll do is get some wood filler. You can use wood filler or normal filler, and just fill in all of the little gaps. So for instance, that gap there, and just wherever there is slight gaps. So most of them are pretty flush, but you're gonna get some slight gappage. So just get those bits filled in, and then once that's complete, we can then get it painted. Right, so we've now finished just sanding it. I actually didn't use my electric sander in the end. I've literally just gone over it manually by hand. And we're pretty much just, what we're doing is just lining up and getting these joins as smooth as possible. Now that we've done that, we can then use our wood filler. I've got Ron Seal's wood filler here. It takes about 2 hours to dry. Really good stuff. Used it externally and it's looking absolutely peng. So all the creases are now filled, and we've left it for 2 hours to dry. It says to about 2 hours. It was probably dry about an hour ago because it's quite a thin skim. So it's not like a massive depth, it's just very thin skim. So what we're going to do, I've got two grades of filler, so sorry, sanding paper. The green one is a very light sand, and as you can see, hopefully the yellow one is very coarse, very rough. So the yellow one is what I use to sand the wood, and now we're going to use the green one to get a nicer smooth finish, but enough sort of grain to kind of hold the paint. So yeah, the green one is the one we're going to use forward, but as I said, the yellow one with the more rough course is what I use to sand the wood, just to get it down nice and thin, and we'll use this one to get it nice and smooth. And this is the green paper. That is nice and smooth. Ever so lightly, because we've already thinned it out when we're filling it. Just keep it moving. Okay, and now that is all of the areas sanded, ready for painting. So I just sanded it, hoovered it, give it a wipe down, just to get rid of all the excess dust. Not all of them needed filling. Some of the joins were perfectly squared up and very flush, so especially the ones on the end. Some of them didn't even need it, but I just gave it a little bit extra, so now we're good to go with the painting. So watch this space and we're back in a tick. Right, so base coat is on, or first coat. Since doing this, we probably realised that it might have been easier to have painted the wall first, then done the framing, and then just given it another coat on top, because it's a bit annoying getting into the creases. So might be worth giving it a try. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, unfortunately we've done it this way, where now thinking about it, probably would have painted it first, then done the framing, then given it another coat on top. So is what it is, but it is looking amazing. So we'll do a second coat and then we're good to go. And that's it, the wall complete, fully painted, 2 coats, and I'm really pleased with the final outcome. It looks really nice setting against the bed, and just makes the whole room look that little bit more special. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.